Welcome to the Whole Note. Today I have a very special panel of people. It's not going to be we're not going to be talking about a particular musical in general, but myself and my Frostburg theater family will be talking about our favorite musicals. I have with me today Molly Heel, Sarah Sandifer, and Maddie Peirce. We're laughing because right before we started this, I was like, I said the last name for Sarah, and she's like, just pronounce every syllable differently. I don't care. So ladies, go ahead and tell the audience about yourself. Starting with Molly, you go ahead first.
Okay, well, I am a 23-year-old graduate student at Southern Illinois University currently. I am a lighting designer in theater, and I am going to talk about Newsies today.
Excellent. Sarah?
I am 22. I graduated from Frostburg with a focus in stage management. Although now I kind of focus in video editing for, the virtual theater. So I'm a little bit of I do both. I stage manage, I video edit, and I'm going to be talking about Cats, the best musical in the world.
And of course, the matriarch of the Frostburg theater family, Maddie.
Oh, I forgot all about myself. Oh, goodness. Who am I? I don't know. Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm having a midlife crisis. So I also graduated from Frostburg with a concentration in design tech, mostly in costume design, but then just kind of fell into everything else. And now I teach science and art for homeschoolers, and I run the theater and film camps in the summer.
Aw, love it, love it. So just to give everybody like a little tree. So myself and Maddie are the parents, and Sarah is our daughter, and Molly is our aunt. Well,
she's my sister, which makes
right.
Sarah's aunt.
I was like, whose sister is Molly?
Your sister-in-law. There we go.
There we go. There we go. There are others who they're not here right now, but it's okay. We're not going to say their names because we're not going to give them that kind of screen time.
They will get no 15 minutes of fame here.
But these are people that have helped me get through Frostburg. We have had numerous crazy nights. We have had numerous crazy times during shows. And we are literally a family. We stick together. We talk to each other every once in a while. We have a Snapchat group chat that we always use called Rock and Roll Kids, which makes me happy. But our official name is the Fierce Family. So let's go ahead and talk about our favorite musicals. Sarah, just because I want you to go ahead and give us the glory that is Cats. Why is Cats your favorite musical?
Okay, so Cats actually has a little bit of backstory in my life. I grew up poor in North Carolina, and I had like 2 VHSs for the young kids. A VHS is a box, and it's like a movie. So anyway, I could afford exactly 2 VHSs. Guess what they were? I'll tell you. One was Cats, the 1998 original London cast production. And then the other one was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat with Donny Osmond, the only man I've ever loved. Okay, now, I love both musicals, but like Joseph is number 2 for me and Cats is number 1. Here's why Cats is number 1 for me. It's the reason I do theater. It's something I saw on stage, well, on a movie version, and then I was like, I want to do that. This crazy, wild, like, does it really have a plot line? Yes, it absolutely does, but you can't really follow it. The music, the costumes, the everything that made Cats kind of wild and crazy, I wanted to do that. I love experimental theater. I love leaning towards like what's kind of the weirdest thing you can put on stage, and Cats is kind of fucking crazy, man. I mean, who ever read of
Everyone
like a cast
in
of
unitards.
like 30 people in unitards and like a bunch of makeup and like cat wigs, like all crawling around on the floor? Like, you don't think it sounds like it's going to be a good musical, but like, I know every single word of every single song, and I have watched the movie so many times that I could dance along with it. And I'm not even an actor, I'm a stage manager, buddy. But
Always got to be ready to jump in there. You never know when you're going to be playing Rum Tum Tugger.
hello, with
Exactly.
the amount of times I stood in Mary's rehearsals, I could kill it. But it's my favorite musical because it means a lot to me, and it's kind of like my theater roots, my beginning. So it's what I've grown up with and what I am loyal to even now.
So funny story, Sarah, I almost added you to the panel for Cats, but the person that I did Cats with, I was like, I'm sorry, Sarah, I love you, but this person literally is Grisabella.
Okay. I respect that. I mean, I get it. I'm hurt. I'll never really fully recover, but I mean, I get it.
But
There
I
will
love you,
always be
daughter.
this slight feeling of betrayal in your heart.
Basically, I am Grisabella now that I've been betrayed. I needed that in my making.
There you go.
And Sarah's gonna start
There's
singing
father has
memories.
officially betrayed her.
Don't say that. I love my children all. So, like, okay, you said that you had Joseph and Cats, and I'm really surprised it's not Joseph, because if it was me, like the color song, it repeats in my head every once in a while, and it's in there right now, and I'm trying not to say it because I know if I say it, I'm gonna have to go through all of it. Screw it. It was red and yellow and green and brown and scarlet and black and ochre and peach and ruby and olive and violet and fawn, lilac, gold, chocolate, mauve, cream and crimson and silver and rose and azure and lemon and russet and gray and purple and white and pink and orange and blue. Okay, I'm good. Oh. But
You
like,
did it.
but like, what drew you to Cats? Like, was it the music, the costumes, the set?
Yes, all of the above. I don't, yeah, I also I liked the magic scene with Mr. Mistopheles, how he like did magic and then like jumped and he did like he touched his toes and he disappeared. And I'm also a big fan of close-up magic. Just to vary my interests a little bit. I don't really know what drew me to Cats. I just know that if I had to like choose one, it would definitely be Cats. It's a part of me now. And I have a Cats tattoo. Hold on, I have a Cats tattoo.
Oh, you did get it.
Oh my goodness. Sorry, that is. Could you bring it closer to the screen for the people for the video?
Yeah, let me stand up. Look, it's the eyes.
I can't
love
even.
that.
I can't even.
Forgot about that until this moment.
All right, Maddie, what is your favorite musical and why?
Oh, well, I mean, you know me, it's hard to pick favorites. I could have gone with my first musical that I was in, Oklahoma, but I don't have as much fond memories as I do as the second musical I was ever in, which was Into the Woods, which then became like my defining moments that I needed to be Bernadette Peters, obviously. And thus began the theater drama queen. But yeah, no, Into the Woods was a big favorite of mine. I was in a production of it like back in 2007 when I was going to like second or third grade. I was Cinderella's Princess Stewart. It was great. I had my first stage combat moment when I was thrown off the stage by accident. Then came back like 10 years later, reprised the role. No, didn't reprise the role. I was the baker's wife, and it was so great. But yeah, Into the Woods was I was always a big fan of Sondheim. My grandmother was very into theater and would always share it with me, and I just liked how difficult he wanted to make it for everyone in that show. Like, a moment to breathe? No, I don't think we're gonna do that. But I used to watch the Broadway recording over and over and over again. I loved it. It was like my first introduction to moving stages, and when I got into like designing theater and stuff, I was like, everything needs to be moving.
That's the one thing about Into the Woods. It is a deceptively difficult show. Like, it looks like it'll be a very fun and easy show to do until you start doing it and you look at the music and you go, what is this?
So fast paced. Like, I was watching it again the other night and I forgot like how quickly they get through the story to get into the next one, because I was like halfway through the first act, I was like, wait, I thought it ended here. Like, it finished. Nope, it just keeps going.
And that's the one thing about that show is the one act version, you can just end it with the first act and say, okay, the second act is not needed, it's mute. And then you get to the second act and you're like, what else can you guys do? And then there's a whole nother story. And you're like,
It's like,
oh,
yeah, everyone you love died.
okay. yeah. Act 2 gets really dark, really quick.
So dark. Which I kind of love that because it parallels, the fairy tales of how they're like super sweet. And then, if you actually read into them, oh no, they were awful cautionary tales.
Especially like Cinderella, because when the birds come down and pluck out their eyeballs, I was like,
or when the stepmother like cuts off their toe in their heel.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh, gross. Okay. Even though it wasn't part of Into the Woods, the one fairy tale that always makes me go, this is not what I grew up with, is The Little Mermaid, and how every time she was to walk, it was like walking on glass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that is.
And she doesn't even win in the end. Like, the prince chooses someone else, and she gets turned back into sea foam and just done. And you're like, wow.
My fate and share. Oh, sea foam. Yeah. But like, why Into the Woods? Like, what about Into the Woods drew you to Into the Woods?
I think I liked that fairy tale fantasy aspect. I like that it was there was a lot of kind of like physical comedy coming into it, and just a lot of like expressive comedy. And oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought.
It happens. It's okay.
Too often these days. I don't know. I'm going to say ADHD. It piqued my interest as a child and just kept going. But I mean, obviously being in it, I loved it because I really wanted to invest myself into the characters and kind of find my own acting style with that. And later on, it became an inspiration for some of the sets, just having like very large pieces, a lot of levels and movement with them. I mean, obviously, Bernadette Peters rapping all about her greens. Greens, and nothing but greens, parsley, peppers, cabbages, and celery. Asparagus and watercress and fiddlefoods and lettuce. I said, all right, but it wasn't quite because I caught him in the autumn in my garden fund.
I feel like every person now is going to sing a little bit of their favorite musical, which I'm surprised, Sarah, you didn't sing anything from Cats, but now she's like, don't.
Oh, I don't sing on podcasts.
But like, please don't put that pressure on me. Like, we haven't gotten there yet, and I please don't want to sing.
Oh God, I love it. Well, thank you, Maddie. So,
You're welcome.
Molly,
what is your favorite musical?
Well, I want to talk about Newsies. So, what really I've built a lot, the start of this really is I've built a lot of the career that I have had so far, which I'm only a few years into it, but the career that I've had, I've built a lot of it on social justice theater. And I really enjoy that struggle of the underdog trying to either make something of themselves or winning in the end, or just really showcasing the struggle of the oppressed and the discriminated against. And so I have really enjoyed that, and that's what really draws me to Newsies, is there's so many different people in it that are oppressed in different ways. Not only are the newsboys, but we have our female reporter that barely ever makes the paper. We have different struggles with different characters that we get to see succeed in the end. And that has really always drawn me to it.
Now, were you a fan because of the movie first or the Broadway show?
So I actually saw it. It was the first like professional show that I got to see, but it was the um US tour. It wasn't the Broadway version. But I hadn't seen the movie at that point. And then I saw the Broadway recorded version when it was put up on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Before I ever saw like the original movie. So I actually saw two different like stage performances before I saw the movie and like fell in love with them way first.
That surprises me because like the movie's been around for years with Christian
Oh, yeah.
Bale. And the fact that you have not, I mean, have you seen the movie but at this
Yes,
point?
I have now.
Okay. It's just like the fact that you've seen the two theatrical productions before the actual movie.
Let's note that most people would not be surprised that I have not seen, like, that I don't watch movies. Like, I do not watch like most movies, and so I'm usually not up to date. But that's not super surprising with me. But it's still like, it was really exciting to be exposed to the theatrical versions first, because that's what I was pursuing. That's what I was interested in, and it's what made me really fall in love with it, is the live aspect.
So what drew you to Newsies besides the social injustice part? Like, was it the music, the sets? Well, you said that you saw it, that was like your first professional, so that's probably what really drew you to it.
Yeah, well, for one, I love the moving scaffolding as the scenic elements. That's like super impressive, and I've always been trying to figure out, I assume it's got to be automated, and how they make all of that work and spin and fit together perfectly and nothing collides, like A1. And so I've always been super impressed by the scenic design of Newsies. And also we have these insanely talented dancers that, especially we all grew up in Maryland, and I don't know about the most of you, but my theater programs growing up did not have very many men in them, not at all. And so to see so many talented dancing men, it was this like world that I was opened up to. I was like, wow, I didn't even, like, I knew that people were talented and existed outside of my world, but like this is the first time I really saw these people's talent being showcased in a form that I was already familiar with and loved. And so it was really fun. So not only the scenic design, but I really loved that like impactful, like super talented dancers doing tricks and things that I could never do.
It's such a high energy show too, and being able to just like keep up with all that.
So in the podcast where we talked about cats, one of the things that myself and my guest had said that Cats is made strictly for triple threats, because you have to know how to sing, you have to know how to dance, and you have to know how to act. And if you lack in any of those, then you couldn't be in Cats unless you're either Old Deuteronomy or Grisabella. Because like go ahead, Sarah.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, if you're Grisabella, do you really have to dance? Your singing talent like makes up for the fact that you can't, because holy shit, every Grisabella I've ever seen I'm in love with her.
And the same goes to Old Deuteronomy. He doesn't dance, he just waves his arms around. But like
I do too.
But like he has to have a certain stage presence to him, and he has to have this bellowing voice that just commands attention. But at the same time, it's sweet and very fatherly like. One day I'll play Old Deuteronomy because, I don't dance. I'm joking.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, you have to believe Old Deuteronomy is the leader for a reason. Like he's lived like 9 lives and he's got so much experience. He's the father to most of the cats on the stage, and you just have to believe that.
Mhm. And the same goes for like Newsies. I mean, Jeremy Jordan can sing me the phone book, and I will be the most happiest person alive.
Oh, definitely.
But like the fact that like you have to sing, you have to act, and you have to dance in that show, and not
Well,
just
we were actually,
dance, but
yeah.
like high flying dancing, like jumps and kicks and leaps. And I'm just like,
yeah.
You're hitting gymnastics level there.
Well, we were discussing this the other day while like watching the Broadway recording, and it was, you actually can kind of pay attention that the principal actors don't do most of the dancing, like the big tricks and flips and things.
Mhm.
They will come in and they'll do like dancing, and they have to be able to dance, but they'll come in and they'll do like some sort of an intro, and then they will go to the back of the stage and you'll see the other newsies come in and start flipping and doing all their cool jumps and stuff. But all of the like it's actually like a lot of the like ensemble dancers that do the really important dance, like the more intricate tricks at least. And the principal actors, they, while they have to be able to dance and at least blend in with these really talented dancers, they aren't required to do a lot of the major tricks and things. They like escape to the back of the stage and they'll like watch what's happening from like the scaffolding or whatever. And it's really cool if you like pay attention to where they're standing during the big dance numbers. A lot of the principal actors don't do a whole lot of dancing.
Yeah.
Now, unlike Cats, because Cats is a ensemble piece.
Yes.
Newsies, the ensemble in that show, to me, shines more than the principals.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Agreed.
Because like they're just everywhere, and whew,
Mhm.
whew. So it's funny that like all three of you guys' favorite musicals is a sort of like a offshoot of each other, because like for Into the Woods, you don't need to know how to dance. There's not much dancing in Into the Woods. But
no,
like,
but you got to be able to sing.
You gotta
Yeah.
sing for your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, Into the Woods is a lot of park and bark, but it's a lot of like belting park and bark. Like,
Yeah.
It's
a lot of like da 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 da. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness.
It's a lot of acting through words as well.
yes.
Yeah.
Because like every song is literally a monologue for
Mhm.
these characters. Like On the Steps of the Palace is literally a monologue that is a
Yeah.
song. And I think that's what I love about Into the Woods is the fact that all of these songs don't feel like they're just put in there just to be put in there for
yeah, just everything flows from one into another, and it's
Mhm.
the whole story is sung, and that's what's really fun about it. It's just one big song.
It literally is. There's very few lines in the show,
Yeah.
but like the lines are built up to the next moment or the next song.
Yeah.
It's very operatic in
Mhm,
nature.
mhm. So my favorite musical, and I think we all already know this, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Shrek the musical.
No, I love you though.
Is it
Nice
SpongeBob?
My second favorite.
My favorite musical is Little Shop of Horrors.
Little
Little Shop of Horrors. Mainly because, okay, so my parents told me that my first words was feed me. And funny story. So Little Shop of Horrors, the film, The Little Shop of Horrors, came out in like 1982-ish. No, came out in 1980. The musical came out in I'm gonna say it's July 1982, the year I was born. I'm an oldie. And so the fact that my first words was feed me was kind of interesting. The movie didn't come out, like I didn't know anything about Little Shop of Horrors until the movie came out in 1986, 87. And I remember being a child and my aunt put it on and she was like, here, watch this. And I was so enthralled at the fact that there was singing in a movie, and there was a plant that ate people, and I was like, what am I watching? And I just literally fell in love with it. To say that I can play every part in that show is an understatement. And I might literally just do that as a random task for myself, is redo Little Shop of Horrors, but me playing every character in green screen.
Do what Cher did, but for West Side. Just one woman show that.
Love it. But like, there's the thing about Little Shop is, so my mom and dad, in my household, we grew up with the Temptations and the Four Tops. So when I heard the plant's voice, I was like, that voice sounds so freaking familiar, and I don't know why. And it wasn't until like I was older, because I never watched the credits, or I never put two and two together, that I realized that it was Levi Stubbs who was one of these singers in the Four Tops. And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
There we go.
But like, this also led into like my love for just those crazy malicious voices that I call. So like Oogie Boogie, his voice is very malicious.
Yeah, but just very deep, evil sounding voice. Just resonates.
I'm not. This is an old movie. I'm not sure if you guys saw it. There's a movie called All Dogs Go to Heaven. There's
Yes.
the crocodile, another like malicious evil voice, and I love.
Yeah.
So funny story with that. Both of those characters are played by the same person, who was also one of the replacement voices for the plant in Little Shop of Horrors, and his name is Ken Page, and it just blew my mind. And I was just like, it just makes everything come back to Little Shop of Horrors. Why I love this movie, why I love this movie.
It's Little Shop. I used to think when I was younger, it was Little Shop of Horrors, like WHORE. And I was like, what is this show? Because I heard that one, and also, what is it, like the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas or something like that. I think like within the same week I had heard both of those shows, so they just became one in my head, and I was like, Little Shop of Horrors. I was like, I wonder what that one's about. Just go to a shop and pick a whore.
I can't. Sarah, you were going to say something?
I was shocked when I heard you say Ken Page, because dude, Ken Page played Old Deuteronomy in the 1998 London cast recording. It's connected.
Everything is connected.
I've connected the dots.
The world of theater is not actually that large.
There are like 3 actors. They're in all these musicals we're talking about.
And also, if I'm not mistaken, so Memories is one of the songs that, and if I were to meet this woman, I would probably cry and die at the same time. Ellen Green, she sings Memories a lot, and she sings it so good, so good. Ellen Green is the original Audrey in the off-Broadway production of Little Shop of Horrors, and she was Audrey in the movie version of Little Shop of Horrors with Rick Moranis. Oh, Rick Moranis, love that man. All right, so we still got some time, so let's have some fun.
Can we talk about Shrek the musical? How much I unironically love that show so much.
Let us go ahead.
Listen, Maddie, you should have picked it as your musical.
I really should have. I'm also dumb, so.
Go ahead, talk about Shrek.
Oh my God, like, I watched that, all of a sudden James D'Arcy comes on stage, and I'm like, he's in a Shrek suit. I just, like, the whole show, it baffled me that someone was in an office somewhere. It's like, you know what? Let's make Shrek into a musical. And it went hard. Like, just from a design perspective, I love that show. They brought all of the elements from this fictional animated world onto the stage, and it's just so beautifully done, and it still feels like you're in this kind of like cartoon fairyland, The costumes are so fantastic. Like all the use of like foam and vinyl and all of like the Duloc people. And then you get to all the songs. Oh wow. All right, so it's actually that one's my favorite, I guess. I feel like Into the Woods holds that space in my heart, because I also like, design track set aside, I need to also be in Shrek the Musical. Like, yeah,
Who would you want to be?
I mean, obviously Fiona, but I have not been like practiced enough to ever probably get that role. Maybe at a very amateur theater, but oh goodness.
Now it's funny that you mentioned Shrek, because like Shrek, like even from a movie standpoint, I kept saying to myself, this would make a great stage show, because it has enough humor for both adults and for kids. And the humor that's for adults goes right over the kids' heads. And it hits right smack in the face, like, oh, that's for me.
Yeah, see, that's what I also loved about Into the Woods, where there was all this humor that, like, when I was watching it when I was like 7 years old, I was like, oh, look, there's like Goldilocks, or not Goldilocks, Little Red, she's so cool, blah blah blah. And then my mom's just like snickering the back with all like, the dirty jokes on there. Now as an adult, I'm like, I love this show.
Hello, Little Girl can be done in so many ways that
the first year I did that show when I was younger, our wolf was a girl, and she decided it was going to be this like gangster wolf. So we had created this like whole pinsuit look, and she came on, she's like, where is your grandmother's crib? Like, well, it was just, oh yeah. So we had the gangster wolf. It's with, all the pedophilic undertones, we just try and ignore them.
It's funny because like I instantly put into my head the wolf from like the Looney Tunes cartoons.
Yes.
With the big broad shoulders and the yellow suit and the little hat.
Yeah, the zoot suit.
The zoot suit.
Like,
the zoot
hello,
suit
little girl. What's your rush?
Now the wolf has a Russian accent, and I'm okay with it. Anybody else have want to throw out an honorable mention?
Who needs to go on a tangent about a musical?
I mean, if I'm gonna respond to Shrek, which I am, I think that Shrek is like, I say this without any hint of irony or trying to joke, but it's like a sophisticated like piece of art as a movie. Like it's comedic, but like there's also like a real point to it. There's like meat beneath the bones. It's not just donuts for dinner. It's a real like good movie. And then when it got made into a musical, it was like a great story in a new art form. And like they didn't try to like ham it up or like make a joke out of it. Again, there are obviously the comedic moments. Every moment Donkey is on stage lives in my heart.
Oh my goodness, the best character.
She's
played beautifully by Daniel Breaker, who he has played so many iconic roles that I want to play, that I'm just like, I love you. Continue. Sorry.
No, you're right, and you should say it. But like that show lives in my mind rent free. I love Shrek the Musical, and it's a good movie, and it's a good musical, and it's not to be taken as a joke. You can start making jokes after the third one, then it's kind of devolved. Yeah. But the first three were genuine pieces of art.
Yeah, when are we getting Shrek 2 the musical so we can have Fairy Godmother go out there and just belt I Need a Hero in a gorgeous sparkling red dress? Like, why hasn't this happened? Kenny, we need to do this.
I honestly forgot that the Fairy Godmother sung I Need a Hero. Can the Fairy Godmother be played by Billy Porter because he's playing the Fairy Godmother in Cinderella? I want to hear Billy Porter singing I Need a Hero right now.
Billy Porter, send in your audition tape.
Molly?
Well, honestly, I have not seen Shrek the Musical.
It's on Netflix, get on it.
It's on Netflix.
Like I said earlier, I'm uncultured, okay? It's not out of character for me to have not seen it.
There's one moment in that show where someone was on crack or something, because Shrek goes, it's overrated, and they lost the chance to say it's ogre rated. Because I was singing along with
that
it
is
because I
a
really got
lost
into it and I was
opportunity
ready.
right
I was
there.
like completely ogre, and I was like, what? No.
That is a lost opportunity.
It really was.
Very much so a lost opportunity. All right, like I said, we still got we still got some time. So
I do have a question about cats.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
am allowed to pose it.
Yeah.
Sarah's like so excited. Okay. So Sarah, I need to know how, well, I already a little bit know your opinions, but I would like to know your
Oh,
opinions.
you're gonna ask me
on-
about Cats 2019, aren't you?
I
Is
am
this-
going to ask you about Cats 2019.
Yeah, what are our thoughts
I need
on the
you to
movie?
compare the musical to the new movie.
Oh God, here we go.
Penny, how much time do we have?
No. Do you know what's so funny? I was going to do the same thing.
I also had that question if it wasn't going to be Molly's question.
It's not that I can't go on like a 2-hour rant about this without pausing for breath, but I do value your audience and like the fact that they've got better shit to do. So here's my abbreviated thoughts. It'll still take a few minutes. So, first of all, I choose to believe that Cats 2019 doesn't exist. It's kind of like a traumatic thing that happened in 2019 that I've repressed from my memory. Just saying, not everything in the world has been the same since that movie. Am I blaming it on the movie? No, but
Did
okay.
it cause 2020 to be such a disaster?
Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't think that you can blame Cats 2019, like 2020 as a whole and a pandemic, on Cats 2019.
I don't know. It was really bad.
No one's saying it's not really bad, but I don't think that you can blame it on a movie.
I mean, I can attribute negative traits to like a version of time we've like made up that doesn't really exist, but also like I just hate it. So, and I want other people to hate it. That's how strong my hate is. Anyway, so it's not theater, it's more of like trying to show, okay. Let's break it down. Let's like have an outline of like the things I'm going to talk about. First, I'm going to talk about the CGI. What can't I say about the CGI? The original designs were, the Cats premiered May 11th, 1981. Obviously, things were not the same. They had the budget of like a packet of chips, and somehow it still looked better than a $15 million movie that they made last year. They sacrificed ingenious and brilliant and provocative costume design and set design for the sake of having a bunch of naked people running around and like CGI-ing fur on them. And what's unnerving is that there's no balance between like I can see the character of the actor and I can see that the character being played. It's just a weird hybrid of like you're a human being with fur on you, and it's like not even in a cute way.
Be like,
So-
oh man, that's Jason Derulo looking really weird, and he's got a really furry bulge that makes me very uncomfortable.
Right? I mean, does the Rum Tum Tugger also have like sexual under/overtones? Yes, that's the entire point of it. I didn't understand it as a kid, but at least it was subtle enough that as a kid I was like, he's like Mick Jagger, he just likes to rock and roll. If I watched like Cats 2019 as a kid, I would have been like, I don't think I'm allowed to watch this.
Like, Mom, I'm uncomfortable. Is this okay to watch?
I watched
I
it.
couldn't watch our movie.
I was 21 years old watching it, and I was like, I don't think I'm allowed to watch this.
Is this allowed?
It was.
What was Cats 2019 rated?
It was yucky.
13.
Rated Y for yucky. But point number 2, what the fuck was happening with that storyline? Everything about, okay, I hear lots of people say Cats 2019 doesn't have a real plot line. Yes, it does. You might have to squint for it. Yes, it fucking does.
But it's there.
Cats 2019 said, oh, this old plot line that like had the longest running show on Broadway for 18 years and the longest running show on London for 21 years until it was overtaken by Phantom of the Opera. Fuck it. Fuck all that success. We're going to make our own thing. And like, okay, for one of the main plot points for those of you, for those people who have not seen Cats 1998, one of the main plot points is that Grisabella is an outcast cat. She used to be beautiful. She used to be super popular. Now she's old. She's ugly. Everybody hates her. Fuck Grisabella. We hate her. So half the musical is about that. They're like, I used to be pretty. I remember it. And then everyone's like, fuck you. So
You're gonna have to edit out so much of Sarah's like.
No. I'll put an explicit, and that's it. I don't like editing people's opinions on anything. Continue,
You just gotta
Sarah.
bleep.
just the cat's logo over like my mouth and
Put the little cat eyes over her bleeping mouth, like.
just the cat's eyes, just cutting me out of the entire podcast. Anyway, so in the 2019 movie, apparently, like, she kind of had that for like half the movie. Oh, and like also she was like, touch me, I haven't been touched in several years. Hashtag we all know what that's like with like living quarantine. But anyway, like Grisabella was sad and she had never been touched. Movie, for some Cats 2019 movie, for some fucking reason, Victoria, the white dancing cat, is also an outcast, and for some fucking reason, she also has a solo. Now, a little bit of Cats lore for you. In the original 1981 production, Victoria was the only cat who was not mic'd. Therefore, she did not have a singing solo part. Therefore, it is part of Cats' like fan headcanons that she was a deaf cat, as most white cats with blue eyes are in fact deaf. So she was a dancing cat. She had the dance solo, the Victoria dance solo. It comes right after the naming of cats, whatever. So now, for some fucking reason, Victoria is also an outcast, which doesn't add to the story. Rather, it detracts from Grisabella's story, because now you're not just focused on one cat's struggle. Now it's like, now all of you are struggling? Now I care less. I don't give a shit. So, and also, Victoria was Old Deuteronomy's daughter, which means she had a position of high esteem in the, like, Jellicle cat community. So the decision to make Victoria an outcast cat who has her own solo, like, clearly came off of crack. And yes, the original musical was written off of cocaine, but like cocaine in good ways. Like the
no
new
one
movie
thinks
was
of
cocaine
that
in bad ways.
sober. It was
No.
80s cocaine. It was the best.
Look, if you're gonna do cocaine in the 70s, sure, everyone was. And if you're gonna be like something as good as David Bowie or Cats was, then live your best life. I love cocaine then. If you're gonna do cocaine and create Cats 2019, get your shit together. Anyway.
I am loving this so much right now. Please continue.
Keep going.
Okay, so like that's my point number 2. The plot line was fucked up, and like also I was so mad that like Victoria went and touched Grisabella, and then like she didn't even like, she was like, oh well, fuck you, Victoria, I don't care until like the rest of the clan touches me. It's not about that. It's not about like I want the attention of my superiors. It's I want to be treated like somebody who deserves respect and deserves love. And like I just think Cats 2019 Grisabella was like, I just want the attention and I want to go to the Heaviside layer. And Elaine Page played it much better, I think. Now, I'm not mad at Jennifer Hudson or really any of the actors of Cats 2019, because a lot of the time
their fault.
It's not your fault. You're an A-list actor. You probably didn't even get a choice if you were going to say yes or no to this. Like it's, and like I've seen Jennifer Hudson in Green Dream Girls. Like girl can sing like her ass off. It's just that when the emotional climax was reached in Cats 2019 and she was supposed to be singing touch me, it's so easy to leave me all alone with the memory of my days in the sun, I literally watched it and felt nothing. And I am 22 years old. I have seen Cats 1998 probably more times than like anybody else on the planet Earth, and every time Elaine Page sings that like climactic chorus, I have a little tear. I feel it in my heart, and it just, I do want to do Tom Hopper dirty. I don't respect him at all. Tom Hopper is the director of Cats 2019. Fuck
That's
that
okay.
guy.
That's okay. Drag him.
He's dragged. I don't even know what to say because I try to live positively, but fuck that guy.
They also did release like the emotional climax of the movie
Thank you.
in the trailer.
Girl, that was
The
point number
movie.
4. I watched the trailer and I was like, hello? Is that not going to be the climax of the show? I don't know about you, but I know a little bit about making trailers.
Like,
And,
it
like-
was just a horrible trailer to begin with. It's like they needed to show every single actor that was going to be in this movie.
Right,
Like,
it was excessively long. Like it went in too many different directions. Like like gave away too many plot points. Basically, I watched the trailer and I was like, I feel like I just watched the movie.
like, yeah, this was the Spark Notes of Cats. Like,
On the
Right.
Spark Notes. I am done.
like, cool, guess I
I
don't
could
need
write
to
a book
read it
report on
anymore.
this. Like,
Yeah.
It's Molly, remember Thug Notes when it was just like it's like a play but like told really like badly.
mhm.
That's what the trailer for Cats 2019 was. The trailer was just awful.
Yeah.
And it was horrifying. And just saying, I'm gonna put this out there, but Sonic the Hedgehog movie came out like around the same time as Cats, right? I don't know if you remember, but the like a couple like images or like the trailer leaked for the OG Sonic and it looked ugly as heck. And everyone was like, excuse me?
Cyber bullied all
What is this?
Yeah.
production team.
The
We
internet
cyberbullied
cyberbullied
them. And we were so rude about it. And we were like, this is kind of ugly. Could you like do better? And you know what? They listened and they did better. And
They
you know
did
what happened?
better, yeah.
You know what they happened with the Cats movie? They heard us, and then Tom Hopper made a quote to the public being like, I just think you need to see it and then you'll like it. I don't know if everybody gets it.
He
And
knew that movie was gonna be just from the start. And he said, I'm taking everyone down with me.
So one of the things that Kyle was the guy who I did Cats with, he said when he was watching the movie, he was like, there were times where you could still see wedding rings on fingers. There are times where you could still see the green screen shadow on some of their suits. And he was like,
there was so much money put into this and it was still bad. Like, what are you doing? That's so wrong.
it makes me want to be a fly on the wall for like their production meetings. Like, were you not paying the like CGI artists?
They're just sitting there doing lines of cocaine.
Were they overly rushed? Were they on the clock doing cocaine instead of doing CGI? Was it let's procrastinate this to the last minute thing, and then like a week before it's due, you're like, oh shit, and then like you like slap one texture of cat body onto everybody? I don't know what it was.
Yeah, like they took this like great Broadway costumes. That could have been CGI'd, and it could have been like those crazy tufts of fur coming off that would like, having their ears wiggle. No, they made everything skin tight. Cat, they still had boobs, just two of them. No, cats would have a lot more boobs than that.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, look, I mean,
but like
it's not the original Cats, the good one isn't like scientifically perfect. I mean, I look at it and like, that's not what a cat biologically looks like, but it's so stylized that you're like, I get that you're like a cat.
Because it's meant to be like anthropomorphized.
It's that they didn't do the stylistic choice well. It's the entirety of what Sarah said in her like point number 1 about the CGI, and that they decided to make this stylistic choice, but then they didn't even do it well. Like, if they had executed it well, I think this would be a different story, and people would see this as a stylized choice rather than a complete
failure.
Yeah.
It's like they had maybe they had like an image in their head and like somebody was like, pull it back. And then the thing is, when you make a really strong choice, and Cats is one of those musicals, you have to make strong choices. It's a weird fucking musical, and if you try to like half-ass it, it's not gonna work. So you have to make strong choices, really go with it, like understand what you want to do artistically, and then do not budge on that. And I just feel like Cats 2019 didn't make it. It wasn't really anywhere. Like, it didn't make any strong like artistic statements. It didn't have any strong designs. The scale was completely off throughout the entire movie. Like, I don't know if anybody has ever seen a cat, but like generally when I have a cat and when I hold like a spoon up to his chest, like the spoon doesn't take up like half of his body.
Yeah.
Like he's like there's like a regular size of cat, which like
it's like they were in a little mouse world. It's like they were the size of these little teeny tiny buddies.
And like stage productions, and because I'm a nerd, I've watched like every backstage video of like Cats on Broadway, the making of Cats 1998, and like you can like see actors holding props, and they're like big. They're like, I'm holding like a jar of food, and like the cat has to hold it like that. But like you think about that and you're like, no, that's about the size a can of food would be against a cat's body. And the thing about Cats 2019 is that it wasn't even consistent. It wasn't even like, here's here's how big a spoon is, so that's probably how big the cats are in this world. But also like 5 of them can dance on this like railway track, and it was like, that's not how big cats are in comparison to a railway track.
Yeah, or like one's wearing beads and the beads are like bigger than her head. Like, no, if I put like the
Yeah.
necklace on the cat, it's gonna be like the size of their eyes.
And it was just so overly realistic that like some of the like costume choices you have to make, like another thing I'm mad at is Rebel Wilson doing Jenny Anydots. Jenny Anydots, by the way, was supposed to be an old, well-respected cat who taught everybody a lot of stuff. Rebel Wilson was doing it in kind of like a jokey, I'm fat and that's my entire joke like thing.
You mean her entire acting career? Sorry, but
I'm not mad at Rebel Wilson. I have respect for her as a human lady, but I am mad. I'm still doing Tom Hopper dirty. I am mad that like it was a one-note performance where it was like, I don't respect you. I don't think of you as like an old cat. You seem like a playful kitten to me right now, and like your jokes aren't funny. They're just like based on like, oh, like I'm gonna roll around and I'm gonna have like beads and I'm gonna unzip my skin and like have like a cat underneath. And yes, it happens in the old one, but the stylized choice makes it work.
yeah.
You see her take off her coat and you're like, yeah, I believe that. And then in Cats 2019, she has a zipper and her skin comes off and it's like, ugh, I know that's supposed to happen,
I'm
but ugh.
uncomfortable.
That's another reason that I was like, I don't think I'm allowed to be watching this. It feels like a horror movie.
It took all the money, put it into getting all these A-list actors, and then we're like, oh, we've got like $20 left.
Ideally, I would watch Cats 20. I would like take a real strong hit of acid and then watch Cats 2019, and then maybe I would enjoy it. But like,
Maybe.
what wouldn't I enjoy then? You know?
So, okay, now that we're on this train, I want to go ahead and ask Maddie, what did you think of the Into the Woods movie?
Fine. Like, I was excited for it. I was like, oh, look, like one of like my most nostalgic shows. I'm very excited to see it on the screen. I was happy with the cast. I was like, all right, these are talented people. It was fun. It was cute. I like it. I feel like you can't do any justice like with it on the screen. Like it's for the stage. Like it was cute, but I didn't need to be like, I don't know. It was cute. It was cute.
So Molly, now that you've seen the Newsies movie, how does it compare to the stage show?
I do think that it's a very different retelling, right? Because on the stage we're limited to one real scenic element, which is the scaffolding that they have. And they have different scaffolding and ladders and stair units and stuff that roll on and spin and do their thing. But realistically, we're limited to one stage unit. And it's a very different retelling. And while it still tells the story well, and Disney, I think it was pretty decent. Like, I think Disney did a pretty good job with it. And I liked it personally. I am like a fan of that, of all of the effects that happened with the scenery. And that's one of the things that really like I hold true and near and dear to me with this show. And so a lot of those like cool automated effects with the scaffolding kind of, it gets lost in that like the movie doesn't like sit as near and dear to me just because it doesn't have those aspects. But I don't think that the movie is bad in any way.
It doesn't have that like spectacle that theater has,
Yeah.
that like in your face,
Exactly.
whoa, like in a movie, yeah, you can do anything in a movie. You can make CGI cats and giant blocks and spoons. Like you can make Meryl Streep transform into a beautiful witch from an ugly one, but like
Exactly.
I
In a
just feel like
movie,
when
you
you
can
do it on
have
stage, it's
unlimited
just so much
settings.
cooler. Yeah.
But realistically on stage, you have to limit it down because even shows that have huge budgets, there's only so much wing space. There's only so much like storage space or shop space to build these different sets.
Yeah.
So realistically, even if you have a huge budget, you can't have unlimited different locations and different full sets for these locations on stage the way that you can in a movie.
Mhm.
And so I really personally enjoy that spectacle that comes with theater, and so that's why it sits more near and dear to me. But I don't think that the movie was bad, and I think it tells the story well. And I don't think that any of the characters were like cheapened with the movie. But yeah.
So for me, Little Shop of Horrors was always a movie for me first. Like I didn't see the stage production of Little Shop until like 2001. So when I listened to the cast recording of it numerous times. So one of the things that really I did not put two and two together was because the movie ends with the plant losing and Audrey and Seymour having their happily ever after. But when you listen to the cast recording, the last song is "Don't Feed the Plants," and you're like, okay, so what happened? Because they sort of skip in the original cast recording of Little Shop, they sort of skip the fact that Audrey dies and Seymour dies. Like they sort of play that Seymour dies, but you don't know that Seymour dies. So when I saw the stage production, which funny enough, it starred my current boss. It was at McDonough High School back in 2001. And the plant ate Audrey, and then Seymour dove into the plant's mouth, and the plant ate Seymour. I was like, wait, what? This isn't what? This isn't what I remember. So when I saw it on Broadway back in 2003, I want to say, when it had its first Broadway debut, which is really crazy to think that Little Shop of Horrors was an off-Broadway show and it never moved to Broadway.
Yeah.
The spectacle of the plant in the very, very ending of that, oh my God. It elevated my love for Little Shop to the point to where I now start to think of different ways of directing Little Shop. So at the very, very end of Little Shop in the Broadway tour, the plant juts out into the audience and just hovers over everyone. And I'm like, no, I am not okay with this. This is frightening. Like, as soon as it started jetting out, you heard literal screams because people weren't expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
I'd be scared.
There's a picture of it jetting out and how far. Like, it literally stretched out to almost like the third or fourth row. It was quite ridiculous. So comparing that to the movie to me gave it a lot more heart, especially for a lot of the characters, because you were able to like go into their inner thoughts. Like Somewhere That's Green, instead of her just standing and barking and singing, and you as the audience member envisioning it, the movie took you into her mind and went ahead and just had that moment. And I was like, oh, this is nice. This is pretty. This is beautiful. So I hold the movie dear to me, but I also hold the stage production very, very dear to me. Well, ladies, this has been fun. Like, when we first started, we were like, what are we going to talk about? How are we going to get there? And we just organically just had, it was a great conversation.
Yeah.
And I thank you all for being here. Are there any final thoughts you want to say at all? I'll start with Sarah.
I don't have any final thoughts. It's just if there are any cat super fans out there, call me. I always need more people to kind of fan out about.
The cat cult.
The cat cult. My phone number is 555-420.
69.
Molly?
I will just say that this has been really fun, and I really like our family dynamic, and I have loved seeing you all again. I'm so sad that we are all on different places in the country and so far away from each other. But it's been great talking, and this has been a good experience. I I didn't plan the end of that sentence before I said it.
Love you so much.
Oh, that's such a Molly thing. And of course, Maddie.
So first off, if you haven't seen Shrek the Musical, Molly, it's on Netflix. Go watch it. It's like an hour and 45 minutes maybe, but it's an hour and 45 minutes of like just beauty. Just beauty. Remember to drink your water and always high five your friends.
High five. Ladies, again, thank you for being here. Everybody, there's no final thoughts for this because this really isn't a final thought. This is just us shooting the breeze and having a great conversation. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Whole Note, and tune in for next week because who knows what musical I might be reviewing next week.
Ooh.
All right, everybody.
Like, play us out.
Mystery.
Play us out, yeah. Everybody else, I'll see you next week. And as always, stay beautiful, you amazing creature. Take care. Thank you for tuning into The Whole Note. The Whole Note is recorded at Roxy Regional Theatre in Clarksville, Tennessee. Intro and outro, The Bumble by Joshua Pyron, and was inspired by The Flight of the Bumblebee. Grading scale notes sung by Marsé, Alaundra. This podcast is edited and produced by me, Kenneth L. Waters Jr. Tune in next week and discover a new musical. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, stay amazing, you beautiful creature.